we got a lot of great times here, and everything's been safe. So thank God I can talk about it. Cause man, I used to be out kicking it all night. I'm talking about we used to be at parties and stuff in the third ward, kicking it, jumping parties to parties, and then we started doing stuff in my cousin's house and on 35th and Capitals, and you already know how that gonna go.
Well,
So yeah,
let me tell you a couple things about my New Year's. I didn't spend hardly any of my New Year's in Milwaukee,
that's good.
as I know, because I was in college, so I spent most of my New Year's in either Sheboygan or Platteville,
Hmm.
a couple of them in Madison, and then I was older by the time I moved back here,
Yeah.
and so I went to a couple of bars. But let me tell you some things that I never please people. Is there some way, if you listen to Tamika Vukovic and you take her advice, please don't start shooting at midnight. I know this is gonna be some.
Man.
Do you know when the first time I really, really heard it? I was in Glendale.
Oh, for real?
That's when I first heard it, like bad. I lived in Milwaukee most of my life, and I never really heard it. Maybe
Hmm.
because I was asleep at that time.
Yeah, that's had to be
But
why.
it's
That's
too
the only reason
quiet
why.
in Glendale, and all of a sudden it's like. I was like, Mike, what is that? He was like, it's New Year's.
Yeah.
He was like, went back to sleep.
Yeah, I was even surprised people in Brown Deer and a little further out, and somebody over in the River Hills area got some land, and they shoot something off randomly, and it's not even during like New Year's, but it's like it's coming from the
It's
east.
boom.
Yeah, it's coming from like that east area, like a shotgun. I'm like, somebody got a shotgun living in River Hills on their property because there's nothing east of Brown Deer that could be doing that type of noise. And I'm like, dude, I know my directions well. And that's definitely east. So somebody definitely shooting a shotgun illegally on their property.
Well, this is, Wisconsin Voices started this show in January,
Man, that
via
went quick.
voice. We have done it for a year now.
Wow,
I can't believe
that
it.
went quick.
That's going to be like I think it was 152 shows, 152 or 151 shows. At the bottom of the hour, we're gonna go over like kind of the end of the year for Wisconsin Voices and what we have accomplished and what we think we did all over, the course of over the year. But we got to bring in like kind of bringing in the new. So we have this wonderful woman that we have brought to you. Oh wait, she's giving me her stuff. This woman is amazing. We're gonna introduce her, but she is now uh, going to be filling the seat that Evan Gorky used to hold in District 18. He is now our city attorney, and she won her election, and she'll be sworn in on January 6th. We would like to welcome State Representative elect Margaret Arney.
I am honored to be here. Thank you so
Wait,
much
we
for
need
having
to.
me.
Where Debo? We were
Thanks
supposed
for
to get
coming.
that.
Right.
Well, let's do it ourselves. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm
She-
excited
She's
to
funny.
start out.
She kind of nervous, so we gonna
Mhm.
make
She got
we're
it.
gonna make sure that she is at ease, because when I was talking to her and asking her to come on, she was, more than excited to do it, but she also wants to make sure that her constituents know who she is and that she's available. I don't think she got a phone number yet because she ain't even got sworn in, but
As of Monday.
yeah, she'll
Everything
have a
switches
phone
as of
number
Monday,
and
huh?
all
As of
that.
Monday, yep.
And then we will make sure that, the people that live in the District 18, she'll come back and, I think all the electeds that were in like the Milwaukee County area and the surrounding areas, made a commitment to come back to talk to us about what they're doing. We're going to start hitting up those county supervisors after 1 year in. What are they doing? How are they running? Remember, because we asked them all last year when they first ran, what are you doing? How are you going to do it? What do you want to accomplish? So now it's time to go back and check on with them. So we'll be checking with them. We'll do more partner stuff. But I find I'm watching I'm looking at your piece of literature. You had Evan endorse you, and you had Congresswoman Moore endorse you. But the one that I find interesting is you had Martha Love endorse you. Now, Martha Love is my mentor. I love her. Shouts out to Martha Love. She doesn't put her name hardly on anybody's stuff. I just want to know the only time, besides the presidential, I don't think the only time I remember her endorsing someone is John Richards, and that was back in 2012 or 2014 or something like that.
Mhm.
I don't remember her putting her. She might support people, but she doesn't endorse. So you
Says a lot about you.
It might be something
Mhm.
about you.
Mhm.
So let's get into it. Where you
Okay.
from? What you doing? You got kids? Let's
Yeah.
get the basic background of you for everybody to know.
I'm from Milwaukee, right here in Milwaukee. I start out in our family on 17th and Congress.
Oh.
Went to Holy Angels grade school. When I was about 7, my mom, Maria Tully, rest in peace.
Shout out to Miss Tully.
Yep. Got a wonderful job at what was then the CBS affiliate, Channel 6.
Okay.
And so we moved we were still in Milwaukee, but 1 block away from Shorewood. So
Okay.
a similar neighborhood,
Right.
But my mom and my dad decided that they wanted to keep us at Holy Angels in the Black community because it was such a positive environment for us.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a little iffy on she wanted us to really have the experience of community and the experience of the education and really the love of our church and our school.
Oh, you're biracial then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My dad actually is the Milwaukeean. My mom came from
she probably
Ohio.
came from Kansas or
no. She came from Wicklow, Ohio. She negotiated with my grandfather. She wanted to leave home, and he insisted she go to a Jesuit school.
Oh,
and
so
she
went to
looked
Marquette.
on the map.
She went to Marquette.
And
See?
Interestingly, back then, my older sister asked her if they had a Black Student Association, and she said, "What? Me and the basketball team?" So it was the 60s. Yes.
Right.
The basketball team.
Yep. So my parents got married in 1968. And,
just right after Loving.
Yes. So I call my sisters and I in our generation the first generation of legal mixed people. We were
right, exactly.
The first time our parents' marriage was a mixed marriage like that would be recognized all across.
Dang, my dad is illegal, huh? My dad and his sisters, everybody
in certain
57,
states,
58.
Well, they're legal
in certain states,
but
they
you know
weren't.
how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
You cross into another state and you don't know what's going to happen.
Now, Wisconsin, it was legal in the 1800s.
Yeah,
so
Wisconsin never really got on that, but
yeah.
But let's go
down
on
that rabbit hole.
We'll go on that rabbit hole later.
Right.
So then you ended up but
I went to Rufus King.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna try to throw that in there. Okay,
yes.
So she went to Rufus King. She one of those. What do y'all call the generals?
The generals. Yes, the proud generals.
Are you one of people that say the full name too? Because people be saying the full name of the school, like Rufus King School of Bachelorette. What is it? I don't know.
It's the Rufus King International Baccalaureate High School.
There we go.
Yes, I was one of the first to get the what we called the full IB diploma, but we didn't know what we were doing. I mean, we had an amazing guidance counselor, Dr. Kroll. We called him Papa Doc Kroll because you'd be walking down the hallway and he would just rope you into things.
You were voluntold to do stuff.
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
All the time. And it was great. It was always something really, really good. He was responsible for my sister getting a chance to go to Italy as a high school junior.
So you had a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
Let's fast forward. You went to college.
We were at peak desegregation. I found that out later. So
right.
We were, the excellence was everywhere. It was just, it was astounding.
So you enjoyed your years at King.
I certainly did.
I know. I see her on the debate team or something.
I was.
Debate team.
Of course.
I was too, actually. So I was a big nerd. So
yes, of course. And you know what was awesome about King is having a critical mass of nerds. It was the Rainbow Coalition of Nerds. It was great.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Harvard University along with my identical twin sister.
The Harvard University.
Did
Yeah.
you mean Harvard?
The Harvard.
Yes, the Harvard
Harvard.
University.
Hey,
And,
hey.
my mom figures in this story because I did not want to make a decision about going to college. So I got in early at Georgetown because I like government. And I was like,
Right.
hey, that'll be cool. I'm done. And she's
Mhm.
like, no, you have to have 3 choices. This is too big of a decision. Why don't you apply to Harvard because they have money and we'll be able to negotiate a better tuition?
Especially for both of y'all.
Strategy.
Well, Madeline, we did, and she's like, and you too, Madeline, to apply to Harvard. We were not.
What was your
thinking
other?
about
So
all that.
Harvard, Georgetown,
And Duke, because my
Ooh,
Oh,
she loves some
because
Duke.
my older
wait a minute.
sister.
Let's hold hands because y'all know I'm a Duke fan.
Oh, really? Oh, you'll love this story. My older sister, Eileen Marie Bost, is a Duke alumni, and she and her husband met. Arguably, the first people that they met at Duke was each other,
Oh,
and they are still married. They have
so there's
wonderful children.
I know you're part of the local government, but Brian Kennedy is a UNC fan,
Oh,
and
well,
he
I don't know.
he gives me a lot of crap because why, as a Black woman, would you want to support the most white elitist, school? And I was like, Danny Ferry.
And
It was just Danny Ferry.
And Harold, my brother-in-law, he was roommates with Ala Abdel-Nabi and Robert Bricky and that group that went to the Final Four. I mean, it was really.
See, I'm a big Christian Laettner fan. I
Yes.
watched 30 for 30 like 3
Christian,
times,
yes.
but it's like I hate
I can't
Christian
believe I'm
Laettner.
here on the radio talking about.
Yeah, all right,
college
we're gonna keep
basketball.
going. We're gonna go back. So let's fast forward to your political, because we
Yes.
we have so
Yes.
much that we could talk about. But what was your first political or position that you ran?
The very first, I worked for State Senator Gary George when I
Okay.
was a teenager.
So
When
you
I was
worked for
in-
Gary George.
Yes,
he was
he was the state senator for the 6th Senate District. And shout out to State Senator LaTanya Johnson. She is amazing. And I'm fortunate to be in her group along with Kaylin Hayward Jr. and Supreme Moore Omakunde. So
Yeah, but you got to work with us too. You got to work with Darren
of
Madison,
course.
and you got to work
Yes.
with Saquana Taylor.
Oh, I'm so
and
glad.
you have to work
I'm
with
so glad for
Russell.
us.
Yes, Russell.
Russell.
I just lost
Goodwin?
his last. Goodwin, thank you. And then our Senator Dora Dre.
Yes, Dora Dre.
But so then, what did you do after that politically?
Nothing. I went into social work because I got confused and dismayed by what I saw, and I was like, I need to be closer to people. I need to know what I'm talking about before public policy, before I think I know what I'm doing in public policy. And my father's a social worker. He was a social worker for 27 years.
Oh, it's a family business then.
Oh, yes. And now my daughter is just completed her first semester of her master's in social work program. So we're going into 3 generations at University of Minnesota in the Twin Cities.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
Oh, y'all got an educated group of people.
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you live now, though?
I live in Wauwatosa.
So, and people are, and I wanted to bring that in, like
Yeah.
you live in Wauwatosa. So you're familiar with the Wauwatosa way of life or aspect, but you represent all the way down to
Yes.
Capitol Drive, like in some areas on Capitol Drive by Sherman Park. So,
Yep. Well, I consider Wauwatosa is like my adult home, but my hometown is Milwaukee.
see, maybe this is the reason why we
Yeah.
bond, because I live in
Uh-huh.
Glendale. I'm an elected in Glendale, but
Uh-huh.
here's the thing. My home is Milwaukee. I
Right.
mean, I represent, the people wholeheartedly in Glendale.
Oh, yeah.
But I grew up, this is who shaped me is Milwaukee.
Oh, sure.
So everything I do in Glendale is because I was shaped in Milwaukee to represent Glendale.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in fact, in my Wauwatosa journey, my husband, I went to Chicago for graduate school. And worked there, worked in social service in Chicago. And when it was time when I met my husband and we decided where we wanted to live, we wanted to come and live in the Milwaukee area. And we kind of stumbled upon Wauwatosa, but Wauwatosa had always been so far away. It was like so
Oh, I
far
know.
west. So far west. It was like, what happens over there?
I asked Brian
Oh my
sometime, why do you
gosh.
live all the way in Brown Deer? Oh,
All
that's
the
so
way.
far.
Sometimes I feel
And
like
now it's
that.
like 20 minutes. It's like, geez,
This
it
is
just
the
wasn't
mind,
part
yeah.
of my, it wasn't part of my growing up.
Right. When it's not your daily route. Like even when we was in
No.
the car the other day, my guy had one of Dante's cousins was like, man, I ain't been out here in years. Talking about Brown Deer area by Pick and Save over there
Right.
on Green Bay. He's
Let me
like, I ain't
give
been
you
out here
a
in
hint.
years.
Right.
Miss Margaret, Brian likes to throw out these, like he's talking to you personally. Like people in the radio know who Dante is. Dante.
Oh no, all right.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta
He's
say
like a friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, it's a
I know
friend,
several
right.
Dantes.
Yeah.
That was
Right.
one of them. So what made you actually decide to, well, did you have any other positions besides working for Gary George?
Well, I didn't work
I'm talking about in politics
in
itself
politics
or elected.
itself. Well, I went to a wonderful workshop in 2009, 2010 in that area, and I met amazing people. Nakia Dodd was in that workshop.
Shouts out to former Elder Nakia Dodd.
And Joey Zamarippa was in there.
Okay.
And I was part of the leadership center at Cardinal Stritch University, and Nakia came through as part of the African American Leadership Program. And so leadership, Black excellence, what we need, and what we need as a community was always really important to me. But that workshop was all about encouraging women to run for office. And I'll never forget watching Nakia do her first practice stump speech.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow. And then of course she went on to go to become a county supervisor, and I did doors for her. And
so you met her before it was county supervisor Dodd, and before Senator Dodd, and before Alder. Okay,
right. And Joey Zamarippa too. When she ran, I did doors for her, and I actually ran for alderperson for the first time in 2010. And people from that workshop came and did doors for me. And
where did you run in 2010?
In Wauwatosa.
Wauwatosa, okay.
Yeah, the same.
Did you win?
That I own. No.
Okay.
Certainly did not. But it was a great experience. And what it opened my eyes too, because I had a very diverse group of people who came out and did doors for me. And I swear it was the first conversation that some of my Wauwatosa neighbors had with a person of color, substantively. So
that does happen. That does happen.
Yeah, we had some it was eye opening, and
are you running for position out here? Are you running for position out here in my neighborhood?
But you know what the big thing when people looked at me funny wasn't so much my race or my gender; it was my age, because I was 40, and they're like, "You're too young. You've only lived in Wauwatosa 10 years." So
see that was I think I
missing on their blessing doing the age
right. So when I moved to Glendale, I moved and then I was just chilling. I had done some work, but when I decided to run, Brian Kennedy told me to get on the school board. But when I went to go run for alder, I had only been in Glendale maybe 2 years, if that.
Yeah, people are
I've been there 11 years now, but I realized I am finishing my 8th year of alder. Wow. And I was only there 2 years. So, and I was I'm 53. So I was in my 40s then.
Yeah, I'm 55. And
you the young buck, Brian?
Yeah.
He's not in the fours yet.
Yeah, I'm creeping up on the fours slowly.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It only goes up. It's great.
Yeah.
So when
maturity is a wonderful thing.
Right. So when you when you went, so what made you, after you lost, what seat did you run for?
I ran for alderperson, actually the seat I'm in now. as
Okay.
the alderperson.
Right.
And the
And
person who won, she was retired,
okay.
and then Act 10 hit, and
Right.
it was chaos. And I was so grateful for the journey and that she had won, because I had, my daughter was younger and I was working, and I mistook this job for part time.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
As one does.
Yeah.
And so I saw how hard my predecessor in the seat was working, and she and I stayed in touch. And so 12 years later, when it was time for her to move on, she reached out to me. And also in that time, I had really gotten involved in community in the ways that I was really passionate about. Our neighborhood associations. I was the president of the Neighborhood Association Council. A bunch of us got together after the death of Jay Anderson, which really was heartbreaking. I mean, devastatingly heartbreaking. And I really felt convicted in my heart, because I work with so many fabulous African Americans or African American leadership, and I knew stuff, but I was like, how do I bring this to Wauwatosa? Because Wauwatosa is just not ready. And little did we know that the work that we were doing, we formed an organization which I helped named TOSA Together, because it was very innocuous. And as we were organizing things, I didn't want people to kind of get a whiff of what we were actually doing and try to stop us. So our first event was actually to have a community listening session for the Anderson family, so that they could say what they needed to say directly to people, to the residents
in the community.
of Wauwatosa. Yeah.
How was that attended?
It was amazing. We
Okay.
had about 75 people came. We organized it. We facilitated it to be a very respectful experience for everyone. In fact, we had people write down their questions and share their questions, rather than we didn't want anybody shouting out from the audience or anything like that. And it was a really strong and good moment to say, the people of Wauwatosa want to stand with the family, even though at that point the elected leaders of Wauwatosa were not taking any. They were silent.
Wow. So so keep going with this, because I want to get to your other parts of your elected. But so you did all that, and then
through TOSA Together, one of the initiatives we did, and it took a while, was to investigate and figure out how could we change the systems in Wauwatosa to adapt to our values of inclusion, diversity, justice.
Yeah, because y'all were the spot during
man.
Right.
Yeah.
But and this was before that. So
this was like a couple of years before that, right?
Yeah. So we were able to work with the Common Council to create in ordinance this committee that included the mayor, interested citizens, the chief of police, the fire chief, and city staff, to talk about equity and inclusion.
I remember Kathy Eli was the mayor, and she really tried to do.
She brought in one fell swoop. It was me and maybe one or two other people of color that were on the committees. We have lots and lots of committees in Wauwatosa, and this committee, like almost everybody was a person of color, a person with a dimension of diversity that we had not seen in any kind of formal capacity. And
she pulled. She was on the board of the League of Municipalities with us.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and then going into what position you have now, and then the new position you've just been elected to and hired to people. This is Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. We will be right back to continue with Miss State Representative-elect Arney. Be right back.
remembering what we stand for.
It's Army with the N. So let people know that it's the Army with the N.
And also for those who are wondering, like, how do I remember this name? She went to King. My name was Michelle Tully, but I got married and became Michelle Arney. And then I actually took on a spiritual name of Margaret in 2007.
Man, that's like me going from Tamika Gray to Tamika Vukovic. First it was Gray Vukovic, and then it was I couldn't write all that. I was
I
sitting there
still have
at the,
all my names on my on my birth certificate. I didn't drop any names. It's just a lot of names.
Before we continue with our interview, we have a caller. Caller, go ahead.
Indeed, you do, and blessed and joyous New Year to you.
Oh,
The
I was
vacation ran
wondering if
almost
we
30
was
days.
going to hear. I was wondering if we was going to hear from you
I
this
was
one
wondering
last
when I was
time.
going to get the next year. You know what they call it under part of a vehicle, right? Where's ride out? They call that the axle. I'm gonna see if I can.
Right out is taking some time off today.
He's riding out. Okay, well that's good. Well, 2025. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna throw some. I got something for you in 2025. Yeah.
Well, we'll
Anyway,
see. What's
anyway,
up,
no,
Mr. Tyrone?
blessing, joyous New Year to all of. I love you. You know, Carvey, you, Miss Tamika, Miss Latoya, Brian, Joe. But yeah, hopefully, 2025 will be a good time. I'll be able to catch up with. But to your guest there, I just want to say, and a lot of the surrounding, Wauwatosa, Whitefish Bay, Bayview. I guess that's Tony Zelensky, right? Bayview.
That's a south side, but it's Milwaukee.
Bay
Yeah.
Shore, yeah. Well, does everybody use our? How are things going with the recycling over there in Wauwatosa? Is the money being distributed pretty nicely with the the cardboard and the plastics and things there and the glass and stuff. Because here in Milwaukee, the recycling, I don't think we don't get no kickback from the money. The lighters or nothing.
Usually it's
But
on your tax bill.
but you're paying like
It's
about almost $5 for a damn lighter these days.
it usually, well, we're going to go back into this interview, but I'm just going to
Yeah,
answer your
yeah.
question. Normally it is
Hmm.
on your tax bill as a credit.
Oh, is it?
So you have to look on your tax bill and see on your tax bill it'll say a credit of
Because
recycling or something like that.
somebody's making money hand over fist with even the metals now.
Oh, there is not much money to be made.
No,
I'm on the council in
unfortunately,
Glendale.
it
There
goes up
is
and down.
it is
Sometimes you're right. Sometimes the
Right.
market is good.
right
But
now
you know
it is
what?
not.
You have to keep doing everything that you were
Yeah.
doing when it was good, when it's bad.
Right,
Right.
right.
So-
All right. Well, we'll talk some more.
Well,
Be
thank
safe.
you.
Yep. Love you. See you next year.
He did he just push
Yeah,
the
a little
horn?
horn or
He had a
something?
little
He
horn.
had a little horn. Yep.
Let's go back
Sideshow
to
Bob.
Miss Arney. I know, right? Well, we got love out there for everybody.
Yeah.
Shout
So,
out to Tyrone.
You are currently you have two seats, and I kind of like
Yes.
this because there's
Uh-huh.
that 2 seat thing.
Yes.
You are currently an alder woman.
Yes.
I don't know. How do you prefer? I prefer to be called an alder woman. Some people women prefer to be alder. Some people alder person.
The official title is alderperson. I think just alder is fine.
Oh,
Let's
I
just do
prefer,
alder.
and I will do automatically because I'm an alder woman, and that's what I
Mhm.
I remember when I first got on, they would call everybody else alder person, alder woman, alderman, and they would call me Tamika.
I
And
have not experienced
that
that.
was
In fact, I had a
huge.
lot of fears. Oh my gosh, I had so many dreams too. When the first time I ran, I had, didn't realize how much I had internalized from like the civil rights history and what people went
Mhm.
through. And I was really scared about what might happen. But I've been really fortunate. My neighbors in Wauwatosa have been very respectful, and I haven't had a lot of rudeness or anything like that. Other people have. My colleague, who was the chair of the Equity and Inclusion Commission, I was the vice chair of the Equity and Inclusion Commission. He's gotten a lot more than me in terms of.
Is he the one
negativity.
that won by one
He
provisional
is.
vote? Yes.
Oh my gosh!
That's why we
He's
keep pushing.
like
You
legendary.
have to vote.
And what I said is everybody's vote is that last one vote.
And I laugh because he's the only one
Let's just
that
say his
will
name,
know.
Alderperson Sean Lowe.
Mr. Alderperson Sean Lowe is the only one that knows, at least outside of his family and friends, who voted for him.
One, yes, we
Yeah.
know who the last voter
Yeah.
was. And the other thing too, and this is the thing about holding your word. Like when you vote, that's like your word.
Right.
This person came and he voted, and he had to file a provisional ballot because he didn't have his ID. So
Right.
he went back with his ID to make sure his vote would be counted. And that was the vote that was in the envelope that they opened up, and that was the vote.
Wow.
So, having
does.
having that persistence that your vote matters, your voice matters, is a big deal.
When did you get into office as an alder?
2022.
So you fresh. You fresh.
Yes, we have 4-year terms.
You fresh
and-
though.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But this is one of those things that I want to tell all African American people of color, BIPOC. You don't need to stay in Milwaukee and try to fight for the seats in Milwaukee. Expand if you live in
Right.
Browndale, you don't need to
Mhm.
move back to. Look what Wanda Montgomery did.
Oh,
I think
yes.
I think half of her board is African American. I was the
Didn't
first
start out
person
that way.
born or Black woman elected in Glendale, and there was another Black male, I think, in the 80s. But then there is room to expand and cover more territory and help the people that are in your cities.
What I want people to know too is we have so many firsts left to have
So many.
in Wisconsin. So many firsts. So Sean and I are the first two people of color to be elected in Wauwatosa's 125-year history.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you just let that settle in, it's like,
Mhm.
what took
Yeah.
us so long? It was, we are dealing with a situation in our region where a lot of our fundamental systems were designed by the people who laid down the very first streets and tracts of land and things to keep people separate. And what I like to talk about is eroding the color line, because that color line is bad for us. It's bad for everybody.
It is,
And
and it doesn't.
it kind of it makes us think and feel and move and relate in ways that are just not matched with other places in the country and in the world. And it's a legacy we need to consciously dismantle and move past. My One of my deeply held goals is that one day my grandchildren look at me as if I'm crazy talking about I lived with this color line.
Right. There
And
is, but speaking of this
yeah.
color line, I was and I want to bring this whole DEI thing coming in,
Mhm.
and all these companies deciding that they were dismantling their DEI programs,
Yeah.
except for Costco. Costco doubled down on their DEI program, and their shareholders came and said,
Mhm.
"This is a, you know, we could be sued, and even if one or two people sue, that still could be millions and millions of dollars." And Costco said, "Cool, we finna keep doing this because this is what our members do. This is what our customers want. This is what the people
Right.
that we work with." So they didn't like kind of turn back. They like doubled down.
They stuck with their business case.
Yes, there is articles in Forbes and Yahoo and on Google that are talking about how they did not, they pushed back and they weren't going to be bullied by anybody. So I'm gonna have to get me a Costco membership.
Yeah, matter of fact, I got one. I need to go pick it up. I gotta go
We
pick
gotta
up
go
my
get their
card.
they were so the work that you do, the little, I call it little, but it's big work, but it's in the small communities
Mhm.
that will help people understand in a bigger realm.
Right. And it's an expansion of our identity. It's not there's We're not losing things by accepting each other. And
But that's
looking at Wauwatosa, the growth in Wauwatosa has been phenomenal. And one of the things living there, and one of the reasons that we decided to do an equity and inclusion commission, is because we have really smart people who study things, and they basically said the communities that are intentional do better.
right.
So, because you were just in the moment that we're in, and if we hadn't done that work starting in 2016, we sat the first Equity and Inclusion Commission in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time everything came down in 2020, we had
At least a base or a foundation.
to hear people. And I'm not going to overstate. I mean, there's a lot of things that happened that we could not prevent. But it was so much better than where we were in 2016. And
hopefully we won't
yeah.
turn back into this with this culture of like anti-blackness,
Right.
of you're gonna take something from me, so I'm gonna take it before you can get it kind of mentality.
You know what really gets me about that is that it's poisoning of people's hearts against their neighbors. And I think about what do we lose in situations of segregation? And what we lose is each other. We lose
But
our capacity to be neighbors, to be friends, to be family,
but
to
this
one another.
but this is the one thing that people don't understand, and there is and I've been on this kick for a while that there's there's a issue where we want to be unified, but there also a issue that I am sick of being kicked.
Oh
And
yeah.
that is mostly in the Black community. It's like, we are there, we are for you. We have been doing a lot of work to help all these different causes and movements, and I get kicked, or we get stomped, or we get forgotten.
And it's
So
also kind of, where's my, is somebody please going to say something before I have to step up and get kicked again?
right, exactly. So it's
And that whole and that yeah,
so that is where we're
allyship is important. And I also want to say, one of the great things, I started to tell this little story that in 2010, when I first decided to run, I didn't realize how much fear I had about stepping up and being more public, and saying yes. Here I am. What's going to happen? And to be pleasantly surprised that there was so much good work for me to do, that I didn't have to be as afraid as I was.
right.
And that's not to diminish what people go through, but um, to say it's worth it, if the work is worthy work to do, it's worth taking a risk. And our ancestors had so many more risks, and it's kind of honoring them for me to just say, yeah, I can do this.
Well, I thank you so
Mm-hmm.
much for being part of our show. We're gonna have you come back, because once you get sworn in,
Yes.
we gonna know what you're doing. I will be up
Mhm.
there to just either
Let me just say, I
clap.
have 3 C's that I have in mind, and I learned this from Tammy Baldwin,
Oh
because
yeah.
she has like 4 W's, but I forgot what those are. So my 3 C's, first of all, is continuity with the good work that's been going on, especially the 30th Street corridor.
Okay.
We've got some really good development and work that's been in the process for many years. Um, Connection, and this is connection across the district. I have a really interesting and different uh, group of people I'm connected to because
Right.
of the work that I've done professionally, and also living in Wauwatosa, and also community. I'm grounded by my community organizations, by my community people, and invite me to stuff, I will come. I love it, and that's what's going to keep me happy
And
in this
remember,
job.
this is my last piece of advice. No matter who you got going on, who you are aligned with, if you don't align with the people that actually have to
Oh,
vote for you,
yes.
it doesn't matter if you push back on everybody else. If the people that vote for you
Right.
love you, you will stay in for years. We'll take a break. We're coming back with the end of the year for 2024 Wisconsin Voices edition. Thank you. This is Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. We'll be right back. the end of 2024 is upon us. Brian,
Yes. The recap. We're here.
we were here. Let's see. What will we start with?
Well, let's a little bit of January. We started, getting things.
Well, this was a show. We
we
started
started the
here.
show. So we started right here, out the gate, getting everything together, working with the whole team up here.
Yeah, it was and we had some people who are here who are not still here, but we thank everybody who was, a part of that. Jamie, Tim, Latoya, Angelique, who else was there? Keon, just who else was there? Chi,
Yeah.
Nicole, you and me. I think
Mhm.
that's everybody. But
Yeah.
we said Tim, we came through with everybody coming through and at least contributing something to the show. I think every staff member, even Nicole's shy, she always so shy, but she even stepped in a couple times to really help us in a bind. I think we connected with the people. We tried to, and we're going to do a better job even next year where we're going to get more of our partners in. We have a plan. We're going to still be talking policy because policy really makes a difference now. It's a budget season. Those committees are those people you elected. Now
Mhm.
we're going to call them, say, hey, you were on the show last year. What did you do? What have you been working on? Are you doing the plan that you said you were going to do? We're going to try to get all those people back who said they would love to be on our show. We went into after we started the show, then we had our gala.
Gala got it popping.
Popping.
Gala and the youth program came right up in
Yep.
February. We had those, and February was even busy because we was hitting the ground. I mean, all that, the last minute with the movement with the gala, and then just still, structuring our.
Yeah, it was at the
Mhm.
Bavarian
At the
Beer House
Bavarian.
in Glendale. We are going to be moving our gala to March this year.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, it was in February. We
Ooh,
loved it because it was
ooh.
all about our first year. We wanted to, it was loving on our community. It was during Valentine's Day. It was like our first gala.
Mhm.
And then the second gala was Be a Voice, Amplify Your Voice. That's how we kicked off the Amplify Your Voice. This year's theme.
Yep.
Is to be announced because we ain't telling y'all yet, but it's a good thing. But what is it actually is pretty dope, ain't it?
Yeah.
But we always connected our year with what we were doing for that, and this is going to be another year that we connected with our theme. We started also with the
youth program started that
youth
too.
program, and we're going to be starting that back up in January.
Mhm.
Anybody who is interested, 16 to 21, 20 years old, I'm sorry. This is a youth program. We do pay a stipend, but we do just a whole bunch of growth, know your rights, financial literacy, um, 4-year college versus 2-year
Mhm.
trades. What else? Mental health.
Yep. Healthy relationships.
Yes.
And looking at opportunities or just understanding AI and science and things like that, just to trigger,
and
new
this
interests.
And this is all within your age group,
Yeah. Mhm.
Male and female. So if y'all want to send a email to info@wisconsinvoices.org. If you're interested, you can, reach out to Brian, BRYAN,
Mhm.
at Wisconsin Voices, Latoya, LATOYA, at wisconsinvoices.org.
Yep.
Or me, Tamika, TOMIKA, at wisconsinvoices.org. You can go on the website and we got all of our emails out there. One of the things that was big in 2024 is our voter engagement and our civic engagement. It was a year of elections. I think there was county supervisor elections, there was city alderman elections, there was what else was there?
Comptroller? Was it comptroller?
Yeah, there was all these different city appointments, comptroller, treasurers, all this city and state stuff that happened. All the assembly.
You say city attorney too, then, right?
Yep. City attorney. All the assembly people were up. Half of the the Senate with the new maps, which brought a lot of. I think there's only one or two from taking a majority. Or majority is going to be taken possibly with the Democrats taking over the Assembly. Now it used to have 66 Republicans, 33. Now it's a 5-person difference. It's still Republicans still have the control, but with fair maps, it looks like Wisconsin. You know, Donald Trump won the state, so he kind of controls the party. It looks like that's the way the state went. It all depends on, but it looks more like the state. It's a purple state.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff we did, we re-granted over $287,000 in re-grants to our partners for either get out the vote, voter education, or just hitting the doors, knocking the doors. Concentrating in some of our prominent or low turnout areas like Sherman Park, United Garden Homes. These are the partners that helped us via CDC, Metcalf Park, Voices de la Frontera, Citizen Action of Milwaukee, MKE Black, Share the Love, and Milwaukee Turners. Between January 1st and November 5th, Wisconsin Voices hit over 205,000 doors. We dialed between us and our partners. We dialed over 38,000 numbers. We had conversation with 19,000 people. Held events, 120, or helped events or helped sponsor events, or with our partners, 124 events, which had 8,600 attendees. We did about 54,000 social media reaches. We sent out 245,000 pieces of mail or some kind of mailing, or helped our partners get out there, the community bulletins. Completed voter registrations that we helped was over 3,500. We assisted 3,500 people register to vote. And the direct voter contact conversations complete was over 71,000.
Wow.
And this is with us, a handful of money, but just trying to get that money out to our constituents and the people that are our partners, and letting them expand. And because our whole way of life, what we do, is all about pushing them to achieve greatness in their own right.
Absolutely.
And then once they achieve greatness, we just say, don't forget about us, still hang with us. What else we do? We did Juneteenth. We love doing Juneteenth. That's our favorite one.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Always do
I was gonna say real quick, we did go up to the Capitol back in February too. The
Black Advocacy Day. I hope that continues this year.
That was a good time.
I know Senator Taylor was she started that, and then she had to leave because she ended up being, appointed to be a judge in January. But I think Michelle Bryant kept it going, and MKE Black helped with it, and some of the other organizations helped with it. Hopefully it'll keep going. Hint, hint, Darren Madison. Y'all need to keep it going. Dora Drake, Saquana Taylor, make sure y'all keep that legacy going. I know Judge Taylor, or former Senator Taylor, had that for years. And they brought the community in, and we pulled in our funds to get buses and stuff. So I hope they continue with that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Fast forward back to what you were saying about the Juneteenth. Did we miss anything between that, May?
No, I think so. We had to take a breather, and we started in May. We did April and May. We started our assisting people to register to vote, but we had to take a breath because we was working hard.
Yeah, we knew that was coming up too.
Yeah,
the voter registration.
And then we had our cookout. You know, our cookout at
That was successful.
Johnson Park. We did that cookout. I think we fed over 400 plus people between the people at the cookout, and then
people
we went
who was next door to the cookout,
and
who was at the other.
You know,
the folks had food at
the wait, y'all know how you pretend like cousin,
like Tupac and what's the name?
It was those people who came to the park,
Poetic
cousin. Yep, using our facility,
juices, sodas. We didn't have a soda juice left. I was like, man, let me get some. I opened up. I'm like, they even took my favorites. But you know, I love the sparkling waters.
Yeah,
I'm like, folks were so thirsty, they was taking sparkling waters.
We will not talk about sparkling water and Brian. We got about a couple of minutes. Let's go forward to we did our concert, the Big Vote.
The Big Vote.
That was amazing. Thank you, Vaughn and Meech and everybody who worked, and Jasmine who worked on that, making it successful. We
and the
had
whole team, our team down there helping us as well.
Oh yeah,
we had Voices team.
We had, what was it? Almost 500 people, 400 to 500 people come to that concert. And it wasn't funny how after we did our concert, everybody else had, I was just,
they bought Lil Uzi Vert in, and they was having sneaky concerts or pop-up concerts downtown. I'm like, whoa, everybody is doing a concert now. Never seen these type of concerts before, but hey, you know.
But so we want to continue the work we do. We have about a minute left. We are going down to 2 days a week.
Yeah.
We will be here Monday and Tuesday, same time, 11 to 12, Monday and Tuesday. It's just, we got some work to do. We want, now that the elections are over, we're going to be offering Civic 101 classes on Fridays. We want to make sure, if you're interested in the Civic 101 class, to go over what your government is, a deep dive. This is a deep dive to really understand and ask those questions. And if I don't know the questions, you can always, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Well, this is the end of the year for Wisconsin Voices.
Happy New Year, y'all. God bless
860, 860 has been great to us, WNOV. Be a voice, amplify your voice. We'll see you in 2025.
Cheer.
Al Sharpton's views and opinions are his own and do not necessarily represent those of Radio 1 Incorporated